All right, let me finish telling y'all the story of me and the Motel 6. I think that's where I left off at. All right, so we found a place. It was a Motel 6 that we were staying in. I think I was paying like 70 something dollars a night or whatever. I would go out. Oh, yeah, that's where I left off at. Um, I would do DoorDash when I dropped the kids off at school, pick them up, and then um, go back out or whatever. All right, so I was putting in applications for jobs and stuff like that. I got me a job at this place called Koyo, Koyo. Um, I was making like parts for cars, like wheel burns, like for cars. This job was a freaking man's job. You hear me? But when I started, I think I was making like $18. When I left, I was making like 20 something dollars, because when you become permanent, you get like a couple dollars raise, which is good money for here, because you know the cost of living here is lower, and everything is supposed to be cheaper here. So anyway, I got that job. I was getting paid every week. I was good. I went from paying for the hotel every night, and so I started paying for it every week. So I think I was paying like $630, between $590 and $630 a week. It was good because my checks, I was bringing home about $1,200 a week. You get what I'm saying? So it wasn't that bad. That was good money for me for down here. And then on top of the money that I already had, and then I was still trying to squeeze DoorDash in, which was hard. It was hard working night shift, picking them up. I started sleeping all day. Like, I was so tired working that job. And then you really, really had to use your brain working that job, because you had to make sure you had the correct measurements of the wheel bearing, because if you didn't, it would kick it out of the machine, and you would have like so many parts piled up. And then we had to fix the machine before we called on the maintenance people to fix it. We had to fix it. That job, it started giving me headaches, and eventually I did quit or whatever. But the money was good, but it was like really a man's job. Like, it was females that was there for years, but a lot of people that start don't stay. I think I stayed for about 4 or 5 months before I quit. And then I think the fumes from the machines and stuff was making my head hurt. Like, I couldn't do it. And I noticed everybody that was working there had heart problems. I pay attention to small stuff like that. I said, this job won't kill me. I was like, and I started getting bad headaches too. I was like, nah, I had to quit. So I quit that. But I'm trying to think, what did I do in the meantime? Oh, okay. So before I quit, we moved to an extended stay. We moved from the Motel 6 to the extended stay. Okay, so before we went to the extended stay, I came back to Baltimore to visit. Ryan wanted to see his dad. Me and his father wasn't together at the time. We were just, he was sending me that money down here for Ryan every week or whatever, but we wasn't together. When I went back up, I had a conversation with him, and he was like, you know what, I'll just come down to help you. I was like, okay. And that turned into me and him being together, but that's another story. Okay, so in the midst of that, when he came down, he got a job, he started helping or whatever. It made it easier, but he had a little background too, so it was kind of hard. Down south, they really don't play about credit, background, nothing. Moving down here really made me get on my stuff, like my credit. Like, I ain't even gonna lie, up north I used to pinch, like, okay, I'll put this on my rent, I'll put this on the electric, no, moving down here, I'm not even gonna lie, I haven't been late on my rent since I've been down here. I pay all my bills, and I'm not saying people that don't pay their bills on time is not, there's something wrong with them, but I'm not perfect. But moving down here was really learning experience. Like, it really put me on my stuff financially. I'm gonna say that. So okay, in the midst of that, we moved to the extended stay. So the extended stay was because it had a stove, it had a bathroom, it was like a mini apartment basically. I wish I had pictures, but it was like a mini apartment. So we moved there, and in the midst of that, I quit my job because I found a new one. I quit that, and I started working at, it's called Lexington Rehab. Oh my God. I was working in the kitchen. I was doing dietary. I mean, I always worked dietary since I graduated high school. Mind you, I would do hair and I would get me a job on the side, night job, or I would get me a little part-time job. I always did dietary. So when I started, they started me off with the max because of my experience or whatever. That job, I made good money too. Any job that I have, I'm not gonna lie, I made good money because I advocate for myself. And when they ask me how much I want to make, I put on that line how much I want to make. People don't know that. You're supposed to put what you want to make. You tell them, and they will give you the offer depending on how bad they need you. So they took my offer. Whatever I offered them, they gave it to me. That's what I was making. I was making money. I was making the same amount as cooks, and that was an issue. That began to be an issue because they were mad because I was the line worker making what cooks in the back were making. But you should have asked for more in your application, miss. But anyway, I was working at Lexington Rehab. In the midst of me working there, I stayed there for about like a year and a half. But like I said earlier in one of my other videos prior, the people down here, their mindset, some people, I'm not gonna say all, mindset is in lack and in slavery times, and they don't understand a grinder when they really see somebody that's grinding like me. Like, I'm a grinder. So when I had my interview, my manager, he told me, he said, we really need people. Like, they don't want to work, you know, not saying that some of the people wasn't doing overtime. They did. I guess they were tired or whatever, right? So when I started working, I was working almost every day. I was working like 12 days straight, 13 days straight. We'll only have 1 day off in the whole pay period. Like, I was grinding. My checks, I was bringing home like $2,600, $2,300, the most I brought home from doing that, I'm gonna say like it was 28. Like, I was every day I was in there working doubles. My body was so tired I had to stop. But anyway, when I was working there, I only worked there for a year. I stopped because it was a lot of stuff with that job. I couldn't do it. I don't like negativity. If you know me, I'm not going to do negativity. I don't have time for it. I'm going to distance myself and find me another job. Okay, I left that and I started working at a place called the Chicken Farm. Lord Jesus. All right, but let me get in the story. I'm gonna tell y'all about the situation with my daughter, Madison, my oldest daughter. Like I said, I moved down here to do hair. Life started lifing with her. She's a teenager. I guess it was kind of hard for her to adapt to a new place. I had to think about it. I'm like, yeah, we did move to a new place. We shared basically a room at an extended stay. It had 2 beds in it. It's me, her little brother, my kids, my son, father, Michaela. So Michaela and Madison would sleep on 1 bed, and me, my son, father, and him and Ryan would sleep in the other bed, and Ryan would be at the bottom of us in the middle. So Madison started running away. I'm not going to get too deep into that. Like I said, life started life, and I had to call the police a couple of times. It was hard, but you want me to tell you what got me through it? Prayer. I got on my knees and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. But I will get into the situation just so y'all can have a little understanding on what I was going through. Okay, so Madison started hanging with this girl down here. The little girl was about 15. I knew Madison smoked weed, but I didn't know that she smoked it that much. You know, like she needed it. So she was hanging with this little girl. I didn't even know that the little girl smoked weed. She was 15. I didn't know that her mother allowed her to smoke. She had the type of mother that would allow her to smoke weed. Okay, moving down here, Madison got into a lot of fights because they were, I don't know, it's just something about down here. They don't care for us, people from up north. They think that we are better. They think we better. So, and I guess it's just our whole disposition. I don't know. It's just they really don't really like us like that. So I got some people that love me. Then you have some people that don't care for people from up north. But she would fight. People would mess with her. And of course, she in high school, she felt she needed to prove herself. I was at medicine school almost every day. She went to alternative school. I had to drop my baby off. I couldn't even really work because I had to take her to school. They didn't have any transportation. The public bus would take them, but they would have to walk like a long way to get to school. Like, it was a lot. So yeah, in the midst of that, she was hanging with this little girl. The little girl she was hanging with name was Madison as well.